Happy Liberty Bell Day, July 8th. I'm 20 Sanity. This is Liberty Insanity 138. Happy Liberty Bell Day in Philly. Today we're going to seek to find out, how did little Liberty Bell get her crack? So this dude, John Stampone, was a political cartoonist in the DC area, and he made this book. I'm assuming the first edition came out 1960, because it says 1960 to 67. I'm guessing I have the 67 edition. But it was so popular in Philly that they made this doll in 1975. And this is, usually it's a pretty pricey piece on eBay, but mine's missing the hat, so I got it for cheap. I'm trying to keep an eye on Butternut. Anyway, I made this last year. And we talked about, I showed some Liberty pins and talked about the history of the Liberty Bell. And the year before that, we did something similar. I brought my Robert Indiana piece. Of course, his name wasn't really Robert Indiana. It was Robert Clark, I think. But he loved Indiana. And sometimes I forget that the first love sculpture was in Indianapolis, I want to say something like 66, and then 1976 Philly got theirs, and there's a few more out there. You know, the big love sculpture. This came out 75. This is 49 years old. I would love to just show you the maker's mark. John Stampone, 1975, Dakin, product to Hong Kong. Shout out to Lisa Hoffman, whoever that is. So, you know, I talk about 1986 all the time, the centennial of the Statue of Liberty. But you got to remember the patriotic fervor that was 1976 for the bicentennial of the U.S. My goodness, to be alive then. Now we're coming upon the 250th anniversary of the United States. I haven't heard squat as far as celebrations, as far as, is it going to be a freedom train? Doubt it. What a beautiful, warm, sunshiny day, I said to myself. Just the kind of day that would make it very easy for me to find some of my playmates. And I was right, because soon I heard a patter of footsteps behind me. Wait a minute. I heard a happy voice cry, "Wait for us, little Liberty Bell," shouted another voice. A dog started to bark too, a friendly bark. I looked around and saw my friend Johnny, his sister Jan, and their dog Jupiter. Johnny, Jan, and Jupiter. All three were running just as fast as they could. Johnny, with his glove ball and a new bat, reached me first. Jan and Jupiter soon caught up to us. "Hello, Johnny. Hello, Jan. And hello to you too, Jupiter," I said happily as I bent over and patted him. "That's a swell new bat you've got, Johnny. Can I try it out?" Johnny replied, "Not yet." He was a bit disappointed when Johnny said that, so I asked, "What's all the excitement about?" Is she going to get damage from the bat? After Johnny caught his breath, he looked at me with a smile and said, "There's no excitement." Before he had finished his remarks, Jan chimed in to say, "Not exactly, little Liberty Bell. We just want to ask you a very important question." Okay, look, she's already got her crack. So they're about to, it has nothing to do with the bat, I'm guessing. They're about to ask her how she got her crack. Crack! I thought you were going to ask me to play ball with you. Nope, that's not what we're going to ask you. Well, what is it, Jan? That's not it, little Liberty Bell. Jupiter began to bark loudly as if to say, I wasn't going to ask you that either. Well, what is this very important question you have to ask me? Jan put her hand very quickly over Johnny's mouth to make sure that he would not be able to speak. The question is, how did you get that crack in your bell, lady? When Jan was through asking the question, she released her hand from her brother's mouth. Yes, that's her question, said Johnny. How did you get the crack in your bell? Then, with a wink in his eye, he held up his new shiny bat in front of me and said, if you tell us the story, I'll let you try my new bat. Oh my gosh, emotional extortion. Johnny knew very well that I wanted to try his new bat, so I could only give him one answer. All right, I'll tell you the story. I got my crack if I can have a swing on your new bat. We sat down on nice warm green grass. I was in the center between Johnny and Jan. Jupiter sat on his hind legs directly in front of me with his head in the air, so I began my story. We could have just started here. Why did we need that prologue? A long time ago, in the year 1775, I lived in London, England. Johnny, who was now flipping his ball up in the air and catching it, said, gosh, that was a long time ago. Jan must have been figuring out just how long ago it was because she said quite proudly, that was over 200 years ago, little Liberty Bell. You're right, Jan. Well, one day, I continued, I was told that I was going to America. When I heard the news, I was very happy and excited. Why did you come to America? Jan asked as she patted Jupiter. Because I was invited to Pennsylvania to help the people celebrate their province's 50th birthday. And I also pointed out about Johnny and Jan that my name wasn't Little Liberty Bell then. It was Little Province Bell. Wow. We got lore, folks. All the lore and more. They were very much surprised to hear that. Jan stopped patting Jupiter and Johnny throwing his ball up in the air. How come? I feel like the pictures in the past are going to be on yellow. I told them to wait until I got further in my story for their answer. Seems manipulative. A smile broke out on Jan's face when she said, I like the name you have now, much better. Johnny got up and swung his new bat, and when he was through, he said, I like it much better than Little Province Bell. Thank you. I like my name, Little Liberty Bell. I didn't wait for Johnny to sit down talking and get on my story. I arrived in Philadelphia, 1752, greeted by friends who made my trip possible. Philadelphia was very warm that time of year, and so was the kindness of people. They made my arrival very happy. Welcome to Philadelphia and to the province of Pennsylvania, said the spokesman for the group. You're indeed very beautiful. Creepy. I held both my arms up high above my head so that he could read the message that was written on my bell. In a loud and clear voice to make sure everyone could hear, the spokesman read, by order of the province of Pennsylvania for the State House in the city of Philadelphia, 1752. He had to go all the way around me to read it all. He looked at the second line. There's more. In the same clear and loud voice, he read, proclaim liberty throughout the land and all the inhabitants hereof. He explained the second line was taken from the Bible. Johnny at that point interrupted. Say, Little Liberty Bell. You said the words proclaim liberty, and so was on the second line of the bell. See, it's the first line. I praised Johnny for being so alert. You're right. But just as my name was changed, so was the position of the two lines. It's like a mystery, Jan said. Johnny was still sitting on the handle of his bat, waiting for me to clear up the mystery. Just be patient, Johnny. You too, Jan. And soon you will know why my name and these two lines were changed, and of course how I got my crack. Onward, forward. Let's go back to Philly. When the people gathered about to look at me, I got the nicest feeling. All I could see was they were pleased I'd come to help celebrate the birthday of their state. I suppose you'd like to see your house. Oh, indeed I would. I was led to a big, beautiful red brick building. Almost at once my eyes caught the sight of the very spire at the top of the house. It looked as though it would reach the sky. What a lovely house. I've always lived here. I just know where them. And the group shouted, let me ring your bell. Let me ring your bell. My God, Libby. Within seconds, he started to swing the bell back and forth till it rang louder and clear. Bong, 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 bong. Suddenly, there was a cracking noise. With my two hands, I stopped to see what had happened. Suddenly, without warning, the bell is cracked. With tears rolling down both my cheeks, sadly, my beautiful bell is broken. The crowd's laughter turned to sighs. The spokesman for the group put his arm around me and with his handkerchief in his other hand wiped away my tears. Don't cry. I know where we can have your bell repaired. There was a very hopeful smile on his face. Oh, do you? Do you really? I asked happily. The man just took hold of... Is this William Penn or what? Pass and stow, baby. After walking a short distance, we stopped. The man let go of my hand and said, "Here we are. This is where your bell can be mended." Paston Stowe Coppersmiths of Philly. I was told that Mr. Paston and Mr. Stowe made things out of copper like shining kettles and pots. The man opened the door and we went in.
"Hello, Mr. Paston. Hello, Mr. Stowe." The man said, "I have a problem for you, too."
And they were doing that and saw my expression. They, look, Paston Stowe would have been at the celebration. True or false? Anyway, my God. Their first try at repairing the bell wasn't satisfactory, so they tried again. This time they fixed it perfectly. It took a year to fix the bell. My God. It was worth waiting for. It was beautiful again. My eyes sparkled with joy, and my heart was beaming with excitement. No one could ever tell that the bell had been cracked. I ran over to both Stowe and Poe and Stowe and Powell and kissed them. "Thank you, old man. Thank you for fixing me up." And Mr. Pass told me how they fixed the bell. "We put a complete coating of American copper on your bell. And that's not all. If you notice the lines, you will see that we switched the positions. Proclaim liberty throughout the land and all the inhabitants thereof." I heard the bell was entirely recast. Sorry, Libby Bell. Johnny threw his ball for Jude. Look, we're back in... My God, we're back in the present moment. White page, white. Come on, Libby Bell. Johnny threw his ball for Jupiter to chase. You told us how the lines on the ball were changed, but now you've got to tell us how your name was changed, and most important of all, how did you get the crack in the bell? Really, man, we didn't ask for any of that other backstory. Okay, I told him that blah, 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 and then blah, 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 and then, my gosh. Now we're in the less distant past, in blue. After the bell had been fixed, I lived in the State House that kind of people Pennsylvania had built for me. It was here during the war against the British that the Declaration of Independence was signed July 4, 1776, but was until July 8th, today, that I rang out the freedom. I was renamed Little Liberty Bell, the symbol of freedom, that day. This was the most wonderful and happiest day of my life. Then one day in 1777, one of our soldiers came to my house. He told me that the British were in Philly and it would be best for me to leave the city so I'd not be captured. Yeah, right. But where can I go? We'll take you to Allentown, baby. So we got on a stallion and we went to Allentown. And suddenly we're back on Yellow Pages. After that, I said boom, and then see. Okay, I was wrong. My theory about the colored significant pages was completely wrong. The 4th of July, I rung the bell. I was told that Mr. John Marshall, our country's Chief Justice, had died. So when I was asked to ring the bell in his honor, I said I certainly would for such a great and wonderful man. As Mr. Marshall was being buried, I rang the bell slowly. Dong, 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 dong. I heard the same cracking noise that I heard the first time I was cracked. When people learned the bell had cracked again, they came over to my house to see the damage. I came out of the steps of my house so that they could see the crack, and there were no tears in my eyes this time because I felt that maybe I was meant to be cracked. Wow. Power of imperfection. Oh my gosh. My friends told me that they could fix me, but I told them I don't want to be fixed. So anyway, you know how... You know, she was promised that if she told him the story, she could take a swing on the bat. Johnny's bat. All right, well, she done swung it so hard, she cracked the bat, okay? But they're like, oh, I don't care that you cracked my bat because now it reminds me of you. Well, no joke. She's the one that cracked it. And that's the story of Little Liberty Bell. On Liberty Bell Day, June 8th, July 8th, July 8th. Stand up and be present, July 8th, Liberty Bell Day, 2024. Okay? Liberty Insanity 138, thumbs up.
Goodbye.